I'm just going to say hello to everybody and welcome Kim Barthel. I don't even know how to do justice to introducing you, but I will say that you are an incredible OT, speaker, author, and expert in the field of trauma. And I don't feel like that does you justice, but they're all the things I love about you.
Nice to see you this morning, your time, from over on the other side of the world here in Canada.
And I'm pleased, Kim, our video is in time with our voice now, so it did work out. Okay, so I'm Lee, for anybody who hasn't met me or come across me along this OT brunch journey. I wanted to talk a little bit about complex trauma with Kim today. I always want to hear anything you have to say about that. So the very first thing I want to ask you though, because the topic of our brunch will be the conscious evolution of the human spirit. That's a really powerful and loaded title, so to speak. Can you share what those words mean to you?
Consciousness, to me, is an embodied experience in our body of being able to take what we learn, feel, and take into our experiential person and evolve. And evolution, to me, is any awareness that you have that 2 seconds ago you didn't have. So anytime something comes into consciousness that you have an aha, for example, that would be an example of evolving, because it changes not only your thinking, but your cellular structure of who you are. Hello, Alicia.
Yeah, hi, Alicia. I saw you sneak in. Awesome. So I actually read a lot about that in the Conversations with a Rattlesnake book, which thank goodness to summer holidays I had a chance to read. And one of the things that both you and Theo had discussed a lot throughout the book was the importance of having someone to talk to, as I think you even both said that it was the most important part of healing complex trauma. What does that look like then in a child? Therapeutic environment with a child. Can you share that?
Well, I think it's not specifically having someone to talk to. It's being in relationship where you feel received, where someone holds space for you, where your experiences are validated and your reality is tested. And that means it's not always verbal. It's this contextual relationship of true presence to each other. And this doesn't have to be 24 hours a day, because that's impossible. But even moments of that kind of relationship reaches in neurochemically to the brain, reaches into the heart, and helps you develop a sense of self. And when you have developmental trauma, that sense of self is often fragmented or not secure in nature. So somewhere along the way, if you have a relationship as a child or an adult, these neural networks and experiences can be rewired.
So, for example, if you've got a child from a home where things are broken or aren't contributing well to the child's existing trauma or have contributed to the trauma, but you have a therapist or you have a teacher or you have a significant other who you have these moments of and experiences of connection, is it enough? Is that, to have that once a week is often what we see children. Is that enough to kind of keep rewiring the brain?
Sometimes all it takes is a moment. If you pass somebody who is experiencing suffering on the street and you are present and connected, that can be a transformative opportunity. You just never know the seeds that you are planting. We cannot fix a person's experience. We can only walk with them in their journey. So this idea of the science of dosage to be efficacious. Sometimes it's the nature of the power of the value that changes a person's life rather than how often we are exposed.
Right. Okay. I just wondered, I think that comes up a bit is, are we doing enough? And that whole idea of fixing the problem, I think it's so nice to hear we're just walking alongside in the journey and doing. On that note, I guess when we are treating children with trauma, sometimes we do come against or come in contact with circumstances or information that is in contrast to our own values and our own beliefs. How do you, or what strategies do you have that helps you maintain professional boundaries and be a professional and do the therapeutic role when you're triggered or when you're influenced by some of that information?
That's such a big question. We need to probably reserve that for the OT brunch.
We could do that. Let's dive.
But I mean, you have to be aware of when you are activated. And then that awareness is a very big part of it, because then the slide between the activation and your action has a pause. And that pause allows you to have choice of being reactive, which would be what we call transference. But if I pause and I notice and I sit with it, then I slow down, then I have a wiser access into my responsivity versus my reactivity. Now, I make that sound so easy. That's a life's work, right?
That actually was one of my questions, because curiosity and curiosity as to why the behavior is there and having compassion for are really integral to the work that I've heard from you and your teaching and even throughout the book. I was going to ask you, are you innately compassionate and curious, or is that something that you had to work at and been inspired?
Absolutely. Innately curious, yes. Innately compassionate, not a chance.
So who and what's helped you on that journey?
Predominantly desire to evolve. I mean, that whole conscious evolution of the human spirit is my own personal mission. And I guess it's not really coming from outside someone else. But I guess I have multiple sources of, I'm thinking, information and people, some of those people I don't even know, who just light me up to feel like the alternative of judgment isn't good for me.
Yeah.
Right? That sitting in an active state of comparison and judgment isn't a healthy internal experience. Never mind what it does to other people.
Yeah, that's
it's very innately selfish.
Yeah, but I think it takes a while to get there, and you do need somebody or something that kind of lights the way. And I think you've done that for me, and that's why I wanted to ask you that question. Are you just so magical at this, or is it something that we feel better knowing it's something we all have to work towards?
Well, I think that empathy, this is supposed to be a 5-minute interview, but one of the things about empathy and sensitivity is that it comes at a price. It comes with anxiety.
Yeah.
Right. So I speak about that in Conversations with the Rattlesnake. Yeah. That this high skill of attunement comes from trauma.
Yeah.
Right. Where your own lens is so open for protection, and that's my history, that the negative of that is the constant anxiety that comes with vigilance, and the gift of it is empathy.
Yeah. I can't wait to dive deeper on all of these things. It's like you say, it's maybe 5 minutes. So to wrap up our brief interview, can you share a reflection from your experiences working with complex trauma that you would want to share with your young, new therapeutic self?
Be willing. You know, if I think about what stops us, or what would have stopped me as a younger self, would have been fear. Fear of trying, fear of doing harm, and fear of being harmed. And I think when you are willing to see that complex situation with a person in the middle, it allows you to step into it at a level that you can, without knowing what to do. Because who really does, even with all the experience?
Yeah, fantastic. I'm so grateful, Kim. Thank you for sharing those little bits. And again, I'm so excited to dive in deeper with all of this. Like, I just want to keep talking to you all the time. And so, yeah, thank you for just being so inspiring and amazing. And for anyone who's planning on joining us, I can't wait to meet you all at brunch. And I'll sign off here. Thanks again. And nice to see you, Alicia.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kim.